Do you feel like you're missing out on wedding bookings by not offering film photography? Does the thought of shooting both film and digital at a wedding seem super overwhelming? Are you wondering where to even start when it comes to what camera to use and what film stock to purchase? In this video, we'll talk you through the film photography kit we bring to weddings. We'll share what cameras we use, how much film we shoot, and a full breakdown of the costs.
First up, let's talk about the cameras we use. So the main film camera that we use at weddings is this Nikon FE. It's a 35mm SLR camera. We have a 50mm lens and a 28mm lens for this camera. But most of the time I'm just using the 50mm, and that's a 1.4 version. This camera actually used to belong to my parents. They bought it before a holiday back in the 80s and is still going strong today. The good thing about a fully manual camera is that it doesn't rely on electronics which degrade and die over time.
Which is a great segue into the other cameras we use, which are our point and shoot cameras. The first point and shoot we took to weddings was this Canon AF, which sadly has not been very reliable and only winds the film on sometimes. So not ideal when you're shooting weddings and moments that are only happening once. So we have since upgraded to our Olympus Mu or MJU. We've got the Zoom 130mm version of this camera. There's quite a few variations, mostly just with different lenses, I believe. Yeah, this is pretty fun. But yeah, we've really enjoyed this little camera. We picked it up in Japan, so it has some nice memories for us as well. But importantly, it has been much more reliable.
And it does have a fun zoom, which is a little bit ridiculous. So
let's go to 130.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the zoom on it. We're rarely using it in that mode. We're usually just shooting at the widest, which is a 38mm view. So yeah, don't tend to use the zoom very often.
But it's fun to have. So far, we've been really happy with the results of this one, and it has been much more reliable. So can recommend the Olympus Mu. But again, with any camera with electronics, over time, these things are likely to just degrade, the parts will degrade or just stop working. And unfortunately, a lot of these parts aren't being produced anymore. So that's just the risk with particularly electronic cameras and point and shoots. For us, it hasn't been worthwhile to spend a whole lot of money on a point and shoot. I believe we picked this up for a couple of $100.
$250, yeah. Australian.
Yeah, I think this camera was $80, but again, yeah, not reliable. But yeah, so far we've been happy with this investment.
So another camera that we use at weddings is this Yashica TLR camera. It's got two lenses, as you can see. The bottom one takes the image and then you look through the top image. The fun thing about this is you can pop it open and then look down in the top of the camera to frame up your shot. This is a medium format camera, so it takes different film to our 35mm options. You actually get a lot more quality out of the medium format just because the negative and the film itself is larger. So we don't shoot a whole lot on this. To one roll of 120 film, we would get 12 shots, whereas on a normal 35mm film, you would get around 36 exposures. So less images, but the quality is a lot better.
But it's also maybe slightly slower process using this camera.
Yeah, it's very basic. You just have a focus kind of wheel here, and then on the top here you can change the shutter speed and the aperture, and that's about it. It's very basic, but produces some great results.
Yeah, and fully manual. No electronics at all.
Yeah, no batteries, nothing. It's probably about 50 or 60 years old, so yeah, but it creates some fun images, and it's great to pull out every now and again at weddings.
I think ideally, if we were looking to get a few more film cameras, we would love to get some more medium format. Trent has his eye on an RB67,
yep,
or a Pentax 6.7. Both would be quite large and heavy to bring to weddings, but the imagery is just something else, and we're really quite obsessed with these cameras. So hopefully, I mean, depending on how this channel goes, maybe it'll be funding our next film camera. Now, the other film camera that we generally bring to weddings is this Polaroid, which is actually really fun. Trent bought this for me for a birthday or Christmas quite a few years ago, I think before we were married. But yeah, it's just, it's a pretty reliable little Polaroid camera, takes like actual Polaroid film, 8 shots. And it's really nice for us just to be able to deliver something to our couples on the day. And it's always fun to bust out this one as well and see the film come out.
Yeah, it's a great talking point, especially with all these cameras at weddings. People are like, oh, what is that you're shooting on? So it's always fun to kind of pull out these things and surprise people. So the next piece of kit that we bring along when we're shooting film at weddings is this light meter. It's a handheld light meter. It tells you what settings you need to expose the film correctly. So it's a really good tool to have to really get a great exposure for your shot. And the way it works basically is you can kind of hold it up to your subject's face, press the little button on the side here, and it takes a reading. So this is saying at ISO 400, so if you're shooting portrait 400 and shooting at f1.4, you would need a shutter speed of 1/25th of a second. So it's a handy piece of kit to have just to really nail your exposure when shooting film.
The other thing that we bust out sometimes is just our phone with a light metering app, which is great if we don't have this on us. But for the point and shoots, we actually don't need a light meter. That's, don't have to think much at all, just point and shoot, which is great for a wedding day.
Another way you can meter for the light is just to copy the settings on your digital camera. So if you get the exposure right in camera on your digital camera, you can then transfer those settings over to your film camera.
Yes, which is an easy way to do it since we are shooting digital alongside film on a wedding day. On a wedding day, we're generally shooting 2 to 3 rolls of film, usually 3 just to be on the safer side, or occasionally 2 rolls of 35mm and 1 roll of 120 film if Trent is keen to bring his Yashica. And if we're bringing our Polaroid as well, we'll also just shoot 1 pack of Polaroids.
So the film stocks we are generally picking are Gold 200 or Portrait 400 for 35mm. Sometimes we'll use Portrait 800 if we know we're shooting in a darker venue or it's more of an overcast day. So they're the film stocks that we generally go for. But when we're shooting 120, we're either picking Gold 200 or a black and white film. Just something a little bit different to deliver on the wedding day.
Generally, we're putting the portrait in the Nikon 35mm and Gold in the point and shoot. But again, we're sort of also gauging the lighting to see whether we need a higher ISO. Sometimes we won't shoot any Gold if we know it's dark or the weather, that kind of thing. But Kodak Portrait 400 is a pretty safe choice for us on a wedding day.
So let's break down the cost of shooting film at weddings. And first up is the price of film. In 35mm, Kodak Gold costs us about $20 per roll, and Kodak Portrait 400 costs $32 per roll, whereas Portrait 800 costs $34 per roll. When it comes to 120 film, Kodak Gold costs us $17.50 per roll, and the black and white film's usually around $20 per roll. Kodak 400 in 120 costs us about $31, and Portrait 800 in 120 costs us $36.
Generally, we're buying 3 rolls of 35mm, which costs us $84, or 2 rolls of 35 and 1 roll of 120, costing $69.50. Now that's just the cost of film. So if you're buying online, remember to add on the postage costs as well. Then once we've shot the film, we also pay for development and scanning. We'd love to be scanning at home, but for the moment we work with our local film lab.
So developing from our film lab starts from $13.50. The prices can be more expensive depending on the size of the scan and the turnaround time.
We normally opt for high-res scans with a 4-day turnaround time. This sets us back $16.50 per roll of colour negative film, with black and white being a little bit more expensive. We find this is the most cost-effective way of getting high quality scans of our film. If we're feeling a little impatient, we may decide to opt for a quicker turnaround time, but this quickly starts to add up if you have a lot of film.
When it comes to 120 film, development costs are a little bit higher than 35mm, but the main thing to keep in mind is that with 120 film, you are getting less images per roll. So the cost per image is considerably more, however the image quality is so much higher. We also opt for a high-res scan for 120 film with a 4-day turnaround time. This sets us back about $16.50 per roll of colour negative film, with black and white again being more expensive.
So to develop and scan 3 rolls of 35mm, it costs $49.50, and it's the same price for 2 rolls of 35mm and 1 roll of 120. Then if we add that to our film costs, we're paying either $133.50 or $119 just in film expenses. If we're shooting Polaroid as well, it costs us around $30 per pack, and that's for 8 photos. So to offer film, we need to spend between $149 and $163.50 each wedding. We know we could shoot much more film at a wedding, but this amount feels very doable at the moment for us and gives our couples a small collection of vibey film photos. We create custom collections for our couples, but in general, to add film, we charge an extra $550. So with an average cost of $156.50, our average profit from film is $393.50.
Now let's touch briefly on shooting film alongside our digital coverage. So I'll have our Nikon 35mm camera on a camera harness. That will be on one side of my body, and on the other will be my digital camera, which is the Sony a7 IV. Obviously I'm shooting mostly digital throughout the day, but there are a few key points throughout the day that I like to pull out the film camera. This is in the morning, getting some details and just general interactions with people. I'll also shoot a few portraits of the bride or groom on the film camera as well. So that's another key moment that I like to use it for. And then just a few key moments throughout the ceremony as well. And when this camera really comes out is during the portrait time. I love using this camera to get some really intimate portraits. The 50mm lens on this camera is really dreamy, and that alongside the film tones just produces a really great image. Sometimes if I haven't quite finished the roll yet and there's still a few images left, I'll take a few photos throughout the reception as well, just capturing all the details of the setup and the overall atmosphere of the reception time.
Now for me, I'm shooting with this little baby. I love to shoot details with this camera. I love a bit of on-camera flash. I just feel like it's a really cool look. I also love to capture a few portraits as well, usually a group shot, and then just one of the bride or groom. Occasionally during a ceremony, I'll bust this out as well. Again, I find it really good for details. So if there's flowers or anything like that, I love to shoot on this. And then yes, throughout the portrait time, or even in that sort of post-ceremony hugging time, it's cool to just sort of snap away a few shots of people interacting as well. And then yes, portraits, like I will try and get a group shot on this and then just focus on kind of the in-between moments with our couple. Where Trent uses the 35mm, it tends to be a little bit more intentional. This, I feel like I can just snap in between. So you're kind of getting two different feels and slightly different aesthetics. And then generally for the reception, as this has a flash, I can still keep shooting, which is really great. I love to get a cake shot. I love to shoot messy tables towards the end of the night. Maybe a first dance, that kind of thing. But for me, this camera is really candid. It's a snapshot. It's not too posed or intentional. It's really just capturing a moment as I see it. And I don't have to think with a point and shoot. So yeah, it's a really fun one to just pull out of my pocket and take a few photos.
When I pull out the medium format Yashica, I'm usually using this just for the portrait time. It is a little bit slower to use this camera. The image in the viewfinder is actually back to front, so it takes a little getting used to try, to frame up your image. And it's also a manual focus lens on this, so it takes a little bit more time and a little bit more intention to use this camera. So I'll usually just save that for the portrait time.
Then for our Polaroids, we really think through what shots we want, as we only have 8. So for us, this is usually a portrait of our bride or groom and then the other partner, and then maybe one shot during the ceremony. Then I think majority tend to be during the portrait time. So maybe we've also photographed one detail shot, which kind of gets us almost half the roll shot before portraits. Then we have 4 shots to use during the portrait time. And if we haven't used all of them, we'll get one final shot during the reception. I love to get a photo of the couple at their reception table. Maybe they're looking at the camera or having a bit of a cuddle or a kiss. But that's just a really fun final moment for this collection of images. And because there's a flash, I can do that at a reception as well. If you're keen to start offering film at weddings but want to know you've got the basics down pat first, we have our Film Fundamentals online course, which is a great way to get all of the foundational knowledge that you need to start confidently shooting film at weddings and just in your daily life. Learning film is something that will definitely improve your digital photography as well. So if you're keen to learn, we've got a link to our course in the description.
If you want to see the behind the scenes of how we shoot film at weddings, check out this video next where we shoot film at a wedding style shoot. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.